welcome to this week's series of videos where we talk about all things planning. And last week, of course, we spoke about how you can keeping on going and not giving up. And this week we're moving on to planning, which we spoke about a little bit last week, but I really want to delve into because it's such a crucial part of everything of your home life, your family life, your business especially. And it's such an easy way to do lots of little things every day, and it takes hardly any effort and hardly any time when you've got it down pat, and it just saves a bunch of time. This is what creates the most time in your life and is an immediate injection of feeling more balanced in your life. And that's what we're all about after all. We want to create that imperfect balance, I call it, because there's no such thing as perfect balance in our lives, so we can spend less time in our business and worrying about our business and more time with our family, our kids, and doing the things that we love. So anyway, today specifically I wanted to talk about how your middle name should be ready for anything. And that's my goal, is to, and I'm not obviously always like this, because I touched on perfectionism last week, and if we try and be hardcore perfect all the time, things are just going to unravel around you really quickly. So rather than saying my middle name is ready for anything, I like to say that my goal is that my name is Elisa, ready for anything McRae. And the reason for that is because obviously we know both in life and in business, things tend to be thrown at us from all different sides, and if we're not ready for them, if we haven't done things to lay out the lay of the land, and these things start hitting us from all sides, then we can again fall apart and unravel, and that resilience kind of trickles away sometimes because we're not prepared. So how do we stay ready for anything? How do we be prepared? And it's not about being on edge and vigilant all the time. It's much easier and there's a much calmer way of doing that, and we do it simply by planning and being proactive rather than reactive. So how do I explain that? So usually if you think about planning, it's automatically cast as the proactive way of doing things. But there is I don't want to say right and wrong, but there are different ways of planning. There's more proactive ways of planning and more reactive ways of planning. And obviously the proactive way is going to save you way more time, keep you calmer and balanced as well. So I'll share a little story. A long time ago, I used to think I was doing really well because I come into work, first thing, and the first thing I do is check all my emails and go through all of that. And then I'd think about, okay, well, what do I have to do? And I'd write everything down. And by the time I had done all of that, checked my emails, not really responded, but checked everything, made a list, planned my day out, decided what I needed to do, okay, let's have a coffee so that we can get ready to do all of this. And by then it's like, hours into your day, or at least an hour into your day. And it never occurred to me at the time, but the answer is so simple, and it's about doing everything pre-work, being ready and planning ahead rather than planning during the time that you're supposed to be doing the actionable tasks. Now it's come out, there's a lot of stuff going on about biohacking and research into the brain and your body and how it works, and it's come out now that the most productive time that your brain has is between 9 and 11 a.m. in the morning. So think about that. If you're wasting your time between 9 and 11, which is usually when people get to work, maybe you get there a bit before, if that's your most proactive time, or your most productive time, then why are we spending it deciding about what we're going to do during the day instead of just getting on and doing it? And also Brian Tracy had an audio package and a book called Eat That Frog, and it's based on Mark Twain saying that if you have to eat a frog during your day, then you may as well eat it first up, and you may as well eat the ugliest one first and get it over and done with. So it's all about that productivity and getting that ugliest task done first, your biggest task done first, because you're most productive you're most energetic that first thing in the morning. So if you're sitting back checking emails and wasting time, that task keeps looming on you, and it keeps getting further and further away from you, and chances are you probably won't end up doing it. And you keep putting it off. And also, it's not nice to keep thinking about something that you don't really want to do. Let's just get it done, and then you feel great. And success breeds success as well. So if you get it done first thing in the morning, then you are flying. So I'm getting away from myself now. I'm talking more about productivity than the planning. But how do we do proactive planning? Well, it's really simple. So you've got to think ahead as far ahead as possible, but not too far ahead so that everything becomes a bit blurry. It's good to have your big goals, maybe yearly or 3 yearly goals or whatever, and that's up to you whether you like to do that. But your 90-day plan is essential. So you really need your goals or extract from your big goals what you need to get done in the next 90 days. And in family life, in personal life, it's just about having your 90 days laid out very roughly. You know, what are the big things that we have to do? Birthday parties, going away for the weekend, family do, someone's birthday. It's just nice to have it laid out in front of you, because kids react so much better and calmer when they know what's happening. And it's nice to have kind of a visual layout so that they can see what's happening in their lives. But also for you, it's really good for you and your partner to be on the same page and know what's going on in each other's lives. And those little family calendars work really well for that. So highly suggest getting one of those for your family balance and peace of mind, and avoiding those arguments about who said what about this event and didn't tell me that and all of that stuff. And in business, it's really important to have your project marketing plan. It's like a 90-day project and marketing plan laid out in front of you. Now, this should not be overwhelming. It should be completely simple and easy to do, and it should be really translatable into your default diary, which is your weekly diary. And there should be enough time and space allowed in there so that when these unexpected things come at you, you've got time. You're like, okay, well, I know exactly what's happening today. I know my big tasks that I have to do. I've done that, so I can reschedule these things till tomorrow, or I can push them back a little bit and I can deal with this emergency that's come on board. If you're still in the planning stage in the morning, checking your emails, trying to plan, and something hits you in the face and you have to deal with it straight away, it's just already, my mind is thinking chaos, because you've got to deal with that, and then you've still got half your planning to do. You don't really know what you're doing. Your big task that you had to get done is being pushed out further and further, and you cannot function like that in a calm and productive way. So so always plan your future before your past ends. So for example, you know, when you're coming up to your first 90 days, make sure you plan out your next 90 days before it starts. Make sure you plan out, take out from those 90 days, think about each month, what are the goals you need to hit to be able to achieve those 90 days. And then you do your weekly default diary. So on a Friday or whenever your weekends, a Sunday, some people do it on a Sunday. If your weekend's on a Thursday, do it on a Thursday. Plan out your next week in your default diary, just roughly. You know, what are the big things I need to get done every day? What have I got on? What are my meetings? Just get it in there. And don't get too detailed, because again, you need to allow time and space for these things to come up and be able to deal with them. But then at the end of every day, before you finish your day, you plan out in detail your next day, so that you know exactly what you need to do. You can go to bed, your mind is clear, you're so much calmer. I guarantee you will sleep better, you will wake up fresher, and you'll be ready to tackle that task in a positive way instead of being reactive to things, you know. So when you get in there, you can immediately tackle that big task, and chances are by the time those unexpected things hit you, you've done that, and you're far way ahead of everybody else and where you used to be, and I guarantee you will feel so much better about yourself. You'll be more productive and just a happier, more balanced person. And because I've gone on about productivity so much, I think I'll do that next week. That can be the big rock for next week. But that's it for our planning today. So remember, just be proactive instead of reactive. Plan out your time in the future before your time in the past ends.